Good afternoon and welcome to the second annual State of the City. It's great to be here today with so many great leaders of our community and seeing so many great businesses in the room tonight. Before we get started, I have one of the toughest jobs in the world, and that's to recognize our elected officials. And hopefully I've checked my list twice and making sure I haven't missed anybody. I know from the city of San Marcos, there's a lot of council members that are dealing with some family matters, but I do want to mention those names because they are working very hard for our community each and every day. Mayor Pro Tem Lisa Pruitt, Councilmember Jane Houston, Councilmember Saul Gonzalez, Councilmember Melissa Derrick, and Councilmember Ed Mahawkanen, as well as Councilmember Scott Gregson. Thank y'all so much for your leadership to our community and your service to our community. As well as I want to thank this gentleman he's not an elected official, but he is working tirelessly every day with his staff, and that's our new city manager, Bert Lumbreras. Thank you, sir, for all your work. From San Marcos CISD Board of Trustees, Clem Cantu, thank you so much for being out here today for us. John McLaughlin, Lupe Costello, Ann Hosley, Miguel Arnando, Margie Valapondo, and Kathy Henson. Thank y'all so much for your leadership. Y'all have one of the toughest jobs out there, and y'all are doing magnificent work at our school district. From Hays County, Commissioner Lon Shell, thank you. I saw you come in, your hard work at the county. And we join Travis Mitchell joining us. Thank you so much, Travis, for being here with us. From the Office of Senator Donna Campbell, Communication Director Curtis Buckley. Thank you, Curtis, for being here. I know Senator Campbell's working very hard along our district, and we appreciate all the work y'all are doing. Today's event would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, and so I want to take this time to really recognize our sponsors. Today, our gold sponsors are the City of San Marcos, LaCima, Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, and LMV Inc. Let's give our gold sponsors a round of applause. Our silver sponsors, HEB San Marcos, Texas State University, and the Greater San Marcos Partnership. Let's give these guys a round of applause. And our bronze sponsors, A+ Federal Credit Union, Bowman Consultant, Half Associates, and San Marcos Academy. Thank you, and let's give these guys a round of applause. It's because of the continued support that we have from our sponsors that we continue to be able to do events like this, so thank you so much to all our sponsors who made this event possible. Before we hear from the mayor and superintendent, I would like to welcome David Case, board member of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce, to the stage for a few words.
Thank you, sir. Jason, thank you. I forgot that I have a mic on me, but here we go. On behalf of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I want to welcome you once again to our second annual State of the City Luncheon. And I also want to thank our sponsors one more time, because without your help, we truly could not put on an event this size. It's hard to believe that it's been a year since our last inaugural event, but based by the crowd here today, it looks like we must be doing something right. For the better half of 3 years, I have served as a member on the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. My tenure on the board began with the leadership under Lance Spiro, followed by Monica Malargio, and now Kevin Carswell at the helm. I must give credit to these three because they recognize the change in our beloved community. They recognize the growth, and they recognize the need. A need for our chamber to evolve, a chamber of the future, a chamber of advocacy. They saw the necessity for our chamber to fulfill its role as a voice of business, a true advocate for our invested members and the business community as a whole. Our board also knew that we could not do it alone, and ultimately brought in a new chamber president from Georgia. He is from Georgia, but he does have a Texas work ethic, and I'm proud to work beside him. Since moving to San Marcos, Jason has championed the evolution of our chamber, the chamber of the future. Over the past year, we have watched our city grow, we have watched our school grow, we witnessed the passage of bonds, saw plans for new facilities, and as many of you may have noticed, the chamber has become more involved in local issues and education. It is all starting to come together. Last October, the Chamber welcomed both Mayor Tomaitis and Superintendent Cardona as ex-officio members of the Board of Directors, furthering our partnership and growing the much-needed open line of communication between the business community and our partners in the city and school district alike. At this time, I'd like to ask my fellow board members in attendance to please stand, and this also includes Mayor Tomaitis, Superintendent Cardona, Adriana Cruz with the Greater San Marcos Partnership. Please stand. Well, y'all kind of beat me to the punch there, so I'm going to skip over this next line. As I said, it is the leadership of these men and women, along with our chamber president, Jason Mock, that we are convened here today, and we are together working towards the San Marcos of the future. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here, and I hope you take this opportunity to listen to our local leaders, because what they have to say matters to me, you, and your business. As business leaders, it is crucial that we understand how the state of our city and the state of our school district directly impacts our well-being, our staff's well-being, and the well-being of our community as a whole. I would be remiss not to thank the most important people here in this room today, and that is our members. Your investment in our chamber is not only an investment in us, but it is in the future of our community and making San Marcos not just a place to work, but to live and play. As I come to an end, I want to leave you with this. We cannot grow independently, and we must grow together. Thank you.
Thank you, David, for your leadership with our chamber and our community. Again, I would like to, thank our sponsors at this time. Again, we could not do this without sponsors. City of San Marcos, Lacema, Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, LMV Inc., our silver sponsors, San Marcos, Texas State University, the Greater San Marcos Partnership, and our bronze sponsors, A+ Federal Credit Union, Bowman Consultant, Half Associates, and San Marcos Academy. Thank you again for all your work and your leadership in our community. Now for what we're here to hear for. That's to hear from our mayor and our superintendent. Elected as mayor in December of 2016, John Tomaitis boasted a tenure of almost 16 years of public service to the city of San Marcos. Mayor Tomaitis began his career as public servant in 2003 as a member of the city council, serving 14 years on the council before rising to his current role as elected mayor of San Marcos. A friend of the business, residents, Mayor Tomaitis has proven to be a tireless advocate of everything San Marcos. Notably, his decision of promoting and protecting our unique natural assets such as the San Marcos River and the prestige green space. Mayor Tomaitis has focused a career on quality jobs, boosting our economy and quality of life. He has been instrumental in bringing in a dozen of companies to our area and have created nearly 10,000 jobs over the past 14 years. I now ask that you please move your attention to the side of the screens for a short video as we welcome the Mayor of San Marcos, Mayor John Tomaitis.
San Marcos is a wonderful and unique community that has a wealth of natural beauty and deeply rooted cultural significance, whether that means tubing down the San Marcos River, enjoying sights and sounds, watching the Summerfest fireworks, or eating a taco at the St. John's Fiesta. We have a thriving business community and established academic institutions helping to incubate the next generation of great leaders and innovators. A great example is the Texas State STEM program. The city is growing and changing, and we continue to preserve the treasures of the past along with our hometown identity and appeal. We've endured our share of tragedy and faced adversity, but those experiences have brought us together and made us a stronger and a more resilient community. And we've also enjoyed many successes in the past year. Our community is adapting to growth, while elected officials and city staff work to proactively plan for the future. As we set our sights on the road ahead, The City Council has laid out 5 strategic initiatives to guide our efforts, including workforce housing, community partnerships, public transit, stormwater management, and city facilities. San Marcos is blessed with extremely talented and creative staff, working in conjunction with our highly engaged citizens and our dedicated elected officials to achieve the goals for our future. If we set out with a truly collaborative spirit, I'm confident that we will achieve these strategic initiatives together, building a community that offers prosperity and opportunity for all of our residents. I am proud to be in San Marcos, and I'm excited for our bright future and shared success.
Welcome everybody, and I want to thank the City of San Marcos communications staff for putting together that beautiful video. Let's give them a quick round of applause. And Jason, thank you for that kind introduction. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you this afternoon, and I especially want to say happy opening day. Today is opening day for Major League Baseball. If you wondered why my prop was here, so I always get so excited for this day because today every team's in first place, and I really like that. And you know, the other thing is I was doing some research into my favorite team's chances of winning the World Series this year. And you know, after I Googled it, I was so stoked to find out that the Philadelphia Phillies had an 80% chance of winning it all. And well, wait a minute, they're motioning to me that actually, that may be not accurate. That number, it turns out the lowest number is the highest chance of winning. So what team would that be? Oh, that's right, the world champion Houston Astros. Of course. And that's, of course, my favorite American League team. But as long as it's not this team, we're okay. Okay, so happy opening day to all the Major League Baseball fans, and we can start with the program now. And I just want to start by saying, wow, what a great crowd we have gathered today, and what an amazing year we've had in San Marcos. You know, as a 26-year resident of this great city and Central Texas treasure, I'm still in awe of the resiliency and the creativity and the entrepreneurial spirit of the citizens of our city. And I'm always amazed at the never-ending beauty of the crystal clear San Marcos River and our pristine green spaces, and really all the abundant opportunities that seem to come our way in this community. So, as your mayor, I am proud to say that the state of our city is very strong. Thank you. And that San Marcos remains a vibrant and growing city with a hometown feel that appeals to people of all ages, young professionals, growing families, students, and active adults. As our population continues to grow, we continue to see our downtown thrive. We see new homes being built, and businesses are choosing San Marcos as their home. Texas State University has become one of the largest public institutions in the state, and our staff, over 700 strong, continue to provide exceptional service to meet the ever-increasing needs of our growing community. Now, because of our unique attributes and location, San Marcos represents the true heart of the Texas corridor. And we are blessed to have vital partners working with us to make San Marcos a stronger, more economically diverse community and hometown where people can achieve their dreams, build a business, raise a family, and live a full and active life. So now, I would like to recognize and thank the voice of our area's business community, the San Marcos Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to the Board of Directors, its executive leadership, its extensive membership among our local businesses, and in particular, Jason Mock, President and CEO, and Vice President Samantha Brown. Thank you for organizing yet another successful event this year. Let's give the Chamber and their team a round of applause. And as was mentioned, a big thanks and recognition for my fellow elected officials who are here with us today or here in spirit. They are my allies and partners in making San Marcos successful, and they work tirelessly, I can assure you, for the community that they love. As was mentioned, Mayor Pro Tem Lisa Pruitt, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Scott Gregson, Council Members Saul Gonzalez, Jane Hewson, Ed McHalkinen, and Melissa Derrick. Please recognize them with a round of applause as well. Now, one of our greatest achievements this past year was the hiring of our permanent city manager, Mr. Bert Lumbreras. Notice I use the word permanent. Mr. Lumbreras brings almost 36 years of experience in city management, including 10 years as an assistant city manager in our northern suburb, Austin. He and his wife, Elvia, moved to San Marcos in August, and already he has proven to be an unwavering asset to both our community and our city's organization. Bert is a Texas State alum, well, Southwest Texas State University alum anyways, and the city's CEO. Bert is committed to having a highly effective and highly efficient organization. Bert's commitment to our community and city staff is crucial to our success. His first-year priorities are based on 3 foundational elements, which include listening and learning, building relationships, and strong leadership. San Marcos is very lucky to have you, Bert. Please join me in welcoming and recognizing our new city manager, Mr. Bert Lumbreras. Now, the reports of our tremendous growth in this city are not exaggerated. According to the U.S. Census, the population of San Marcos had reached nearly 62,000 in 2017, and that's a 40% increase in only 6 years. At the current rate of anticipated growth, we project the population will eclipse 85,000 sometime in the next decade. Hays County is expected to grow almost 70% to about 310,000 residents during that time. So what does this mean for San Marcos? It means that we can't afford to bury our heads in the sand or try to wish away this real-world growth scenario. We must prepare for growth by focusing our energy, our creativity, our planning, and economic resources on this vision and this reality. With this growth, we must remain vigilant in our efforts to keep the unique character and charm of our city intact and to protect the natural beauty we all love. So to achieve this, our council has adopted 5 strategic initiatives to guide and focus our city staff's efforts over the near term. With increased population, we are well aware that people are moving here and seeking a good job. One challenge our community has is the growing need for affordable housing and diverse housing options. Since 2015, we have added more than 1,000 new single-family homes in local housing developments. But in San Marcos, the median home price is just over $151,000, and the median family income is just under $46,000. So given our current stock of existing homes and newly constructed housing, the option of home ownership is out of reach for many of our citizens. This includes many of our teachers and our service workers. So we must do better. Therefore, our first council initiative is to develop a plan to concentrate on achieving workforce housing development within our community. Since 2012, the city has accomplished notable affordable housing outcomes through our Community Development Block Grant Program by allocating over $1.1 million to rehabilitate 56 homes. And we continue to partner with Habitat for Humanity, which just greatly expanded its operations here in San Marcos, and we're thrilled to have Habitat for Humanity here. But we know that this is not enough. We must find ways to provide truly affordable options for the many other working families, young parents, professionals, and single adults who want to own their own home. Our new council workforce housing initiative will consider affordable housing strategies like land banking, community land trusts, alternative funding solutions, zoning strategies, and professional partnerships to achieve this goal. But we know that raising salaries and creating new opportunities is the best way to expand our housing affordability in this city. These options, along with the passage of our new land development code, Code SMTX, fingers crossed, will help us achieve meaningful housing ownership opportunities for a larger portion of our citizens and their families. So this effort is not unrealistic. We'll gain valuable insight and success from successful programs in cities in Texas and across the country. Now, because of the influx of population that we've been talking about along the I-35 corridor, mobility and transit options continue to be a major challenge. As a result, public transit is our second strategic initiative. Our team is working to establish the city as a direct recipient for federal and state transportation funding to enhance our mobility and transit options. In addition, we will continue to evaluate the benefits and challenges of regional transit partnerships. Later this year, the Council will look to adopt an updated transportation master plan, which will guide our street and road network development for the next 30 years. This new master plan will be imperative to the success of our overall community transportation grid, public improvement cross-sections, and implementation of our Complete Streets Ordinance. This plan is critical to provide for and establish future roadways to keep us moving while facing the inevitable prospects of continued growth. Now, Texas is a land of big trucks, SUVs, and auto independence. So often we don't even give a second thought about catching one of our environmentally friendly CARTS buses equipped with Wi-Fi and air conditioning to travel downtown or to run an errand. So we understand that this is no small task. But it's time that we offer viable alternative methods of transportation, such as an expanded bus route system that matches population centers with employment centers and shopping opportunities. And just recently, we issued a joint request for proposal with Texas State University for car and bike share programs that are convenient, accessible, and other meaningful transportation options. So looking forward into the near future, we are also seeing communities in our country utilizing driverless shuttles and delivery vehicles utilizing technology that removes human error and reduces accidents by 80%. Automated vehicles, or AV, will likely be part of the future in San Marcos. Improved safety and the reduced need for parking spaces are just a few of the benefits. But we need to begin now to prepare our city and our state and not be left behind in this transportation revolution. Our third council initiative is city facilities. Addressing long-needed maintenance and expansion and planning for current and future growth. You know, anyone who's ever visited one of our city buildings or our over 40-year City Hall knows that we're out of parking and workspace. City Hall is seeing noticeable signs of wear and age. We've run out of workspace so much that we've resulted in multiple staff working in the same room. Some staff members have even been relegated to repurposed closets. So it's imperative that we investigate and create plans for a new City Hall complex. Partnering with the private sector may provide an opportunity to satisfy this need while limiting public debt. In 2017, the city purchased 20 acres of land on Clovis Barker to build a public facilities maintenance facility. So this location will allow us to relocate all our back-of-the-house operations, fleet maintenance, all that stuff, away from the very public City Hall complex. And the next phase of our plans will be to design needed facilities that will accommodate operations for at least the next quarter century for a city with an anticipated population growth of some 110,000 residents. And I can't talk about facilities without recognizing the successful $32 million bond election overwhelmingly passed by over 75% of our city citizens in 2017. And I want to thank the Chamber for all the effort and all the advocacy that you had with that. These bond funds will allow the city to increase the size of the San Marcos Public Library by up to 29,000 square feet, renovate the existing facility, expand the parking lot, and add a drive-through bus loop. Public safety will be positively impacted by these funds, which will allow the city to add a new fire station in the Trace subdivision. I know they're here today. Replace and relocate an existing fire station that's currently housed in a 63-year-old structure, and add a live fire training facility out by our airport. It will also provide renovations to our 23-year-old police department building to address security enhancements and expand our 911 emergency call center. Excuse me. Now, a lifelong struggle in our city has been flooding, and that's why our fourth council initiative focuses on stormwater management. And I can tell you, at some point last night, I thought we were going to have a lot more to talk about with stormwater management. When it rains, it pours in this city, we all know that. So the goal of this initiative is to create a community that is resilient to regional and localized flooding events and to improve the management of stormwater runoff to reduce or eliminate the negative impact of sudden heavy rains. Last year, the City Council directed that our 5-year investment for stormwater management be doubled from $33 to $66 million. So this City Council is intently focused and united on the impact of chronic flooding in our community, on our families, their property, and our local businesses. So for future development, the Council has already adopted new, higher standards as well as other requirements intended to reduce the risk of flood damage to our homes and our businesses in this city. Because of these higher standards within our community, the Texas Floodplain Management Association recently awarded the City of San Marcos the 2018 City Floodplain Management Excellence Award. And I know a lot of our engineering team is in the room. Let's give them a round of applause for accomplishing what the council really set out as one of their main goals. You know, through our federal lobbying efforts, along with the promise to make San Marcos more resilient to flooding in the future, we've successfully convinced our federal officials to grant the city $34 million in HUD disaster recovery funds. And in total, the city has received over $76 million due to our ongoing efforts with our federal and state elected officials and governmental agencies over the past 8 years. So with this funding, I'm pleased to report that in 2017, the city rolled out a housing program with a substantial portion of these funds going to help the many families in San Marcos who experienced damage in the 2015 floods and who will now be able to renovate their homes and strengthen their neighborhoods. Most of our disaster recovery grant funds have been earmarked to complete 5 infrastructure projects approved by the council to mitigate flooding in the most susceptible neighborhoods. These are massive stormwater infrastructure projects, and they are now currently underway. Thank you, Lori Moyer, for getting that done for us. So our engineering teams expect the outcomes of these improvements to reduce future flooding from all past storms except the 2015 Memorial Day flood, which was truly a historic event. Finally, our 5th strategic initiative is to coordinate and expand our community partnerships with Texas State University, Hays County, the San Marcos Independent School District, led by our great superintendent, Michael Cardona. Michael has been a true partner to our city, and most importantly, I'm proud to call him a friend. And this collaboration will provide the regional resources and leadership necessary to identify opportunities and establish goals for our mutual benefit. Now, this past year, I introduced 2 initiatives that are extremely dependent upon these partnerships, and I'm going to come talk to everybody a little bit more about these. One is an innovation district. It's proposed for our downtown as a partnership between the city, the school district, Texas State, and the Greater San Marcos Partnership and the community. This is designed to bring creative and economically meaningful jobs opportunities to our city. The second is a climate action plan designed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the largest entities in our city and impacts through benchmarks and expansion of existing programs focused on improving our environment, air quality, and ensuring that we build a more sustainable city. Now, I want to talk a little bit about job growth. Vital job growth in San Marcos remained positive in 2017 as public and private jobs increased by over 4.5%. This equated to just over 1,700 new jobs in San Marcos in just this last year alone, and I think that deserves a round of applause. Our city has also experienced phenomenal growth in sales tax revenue over the last 6 years. Over the last 6 years, our total annual sales tax revenue collected by the city increased by 40%. And most of that, or a lot of that, excuse me, can be attributed to the outlet malls, obviously, but also our new businesses, our vibrant downtown, construction of the Amazon Distribution Center, and the Best Buy Call Center, which went online in October 2017. Now let me talk about the Best Buy Call Center. It's a first of its kind in Texas, and it's the sole Best Buy e-commerce sales operation in the state. And it's on track to generate up to $1.5 million per year in sales tax revenues for San Marcos, in addition to employing scores of local residents. Now, this partnership with Best Buy represents a truly beneficial example of economic development at work in our city. This company located itself in a historically low-performing shopping center and is now the single highest sales tax producing address in the city of San Marcos. Amazon.com represents over 3,600 full-time jobs, including 860 military veterans today and the potential for many more in the future. In fact, during the holiday months, the company employed over 6,500 employees around the clock. These are exciting things happening as well at the San Marcos Airport. In 2017, Coast Flight Training Center opened operations. Their Rotary Transition program focuses on training military helicopter pilots who are transitioning to careers as civilian pilots. To date, over 300 have received an offer of employment from American Airlines, making Coast Flight the largest single supplier of pilots to that airline. This number is expected to nearly triple over the next 3 years. And we are proud to play a role in these veterans' transition to civilian employment. But that's not the end of the airport's success story. As of October 2017, for the first time in the airport's history, the airport is operating in the black, meaning it's self-sufficient and no longer being supplemented through the general fund. Thank goodness. These successes highlight the increasing value of the San Marcos Airport as a catalyst for the region's economic development. And when it comes to the San Marcos Airport's future, even the sky is not the limit. These huge wins for the city wouldn't be possible without the assistance and hard work of the Greater San Marcos Partnership, led by Adriana Cruz, her staff, and her board of directors. Since 2010, GSMP and the city have made 21 announcements in San Marcos, representing over 4,700 new jobs and nearly $300 million in capital revenue. San Marcos now has over 37,000 permanent job positions, and almost 9,000 people from outside our city come to work each day in the city of San Marcos. This exemplifies their innovation, persistence, and expertise in expanding economic opportunities for San Marcos and the greater San Marcos region. Let's give Adriana and her team a round of applause. Thank you, Adriana. Recently, San Marcos competed for the strongest town in the U.S. contest. And one of the application questions asked, why San Marcos? Tell us what's so special about your town. So here's what I would tell them. I would tell them that San Marcos was named one of the 8 American cities you should visit before they become too popular. When you have a community where people want to visit, you have a community where people want to live. We have 2,300 hotel rooms in our city and 350 more in the pipeline, and I am happy to report that visitors generated over $3.8 million in hotel occupancy tax in 2017. I would tell them that San Marcos was recently named one of the best places to retire, proving that, believe it or not, retirees and college students probably have more in common than some would like to admit. I would tell them that the heart and soul of our community flows through the middle of our town at a constant 72 degrees and is truly one of a kind. And just 2 weeks ago, we had over 1,000 volunteers remove over 31,000 pounds of trash and 10,000 pounds of recycled materials from the river, its banks, and the creeks that flow into it. I would tell them that our finance and budget performance is rock solid and that the city's total sales tax collection for the first 3 months of 2018 is up more than 22.5% from 1 year ago to $8.3 million. I would tell them that in San Marcos, a dull wall space is transformed into life, energy, and culture through our mural arts program that has funded over 30 murals, reduced tagging, and given an opportunity on large and small canvases to display creative, expressive art from our youth and talented artists. I would tell them that San Marcos was named one of the best U.S. small cities to travel to in 2018, and that our vibrant downtown comprises over 300 small businesses, and in San Marcos, we believe there is nothing bigger than small business. I would tell them that we are dedicated to preserving neighborhood integrity and honoring our vision, San Marcos Comprehensive Plan, as we move through the final phase of a 4-year community effort to adopt a new land development code, Code SMTX. I would tell them that you could stay outside all day and enjoy the natural and historic beauty of over 2,000 acres of green space and parkland, and with a 25-mile-long trail system, all within our city limits. I would tell them that providing safe daily travel and multimodal routes for our residents is being accomplished through our street overlay program that resurfaces 22 lane miles of roads each year and installs 2 miles of sidewalks each and every year. And I would tell them that as our city continues to grow, we will not waver in our efforts to maintain our existing infrastructure. And in 2017, the city invested over $70 million for these needed projects. I would tell them that we are San Marcos strong, and we have a community that wholeheartedly supports our police, fire, and emergency responders. As a community, we suffered a great loss this past year. Officer Ken Copeland, one of our own, was struck down while on duty, showing us just how dangerous keeping us safe can be. This year, more than ever, we acknowledge and respect the sacrifices of our first responders make to keep each of us and our families safe. Ken, I know you're up there watching. You will never be forgotten. And I would tell them that we are a city on the move, and the only thing that can derail us is intolerance. Make no doubt about it. Intolerance to working together, or new ideas, or people who were born elsewhere or look different will undermine our progress. I challenge everyone in this room and those listening at home to always remember that we exist among each other because of our similarities, but it is our differences that truly make us strong. And I would tell them that what remains special and unique, but also constant, is the passion of our community, the commitment of our friends and neighbors, our highly dedicated business owners, extremely talented artists and musicians, and vibrant university students, and of course, our dedicated city staff to preserve the unique culture, natural beauty, and hometown feel of our ever-evolving city. And I would tell them that another successful year has come and gone. But I assure you, if 2017 is any indication of what's to come, our future in San Marcos is very bright. And it is my sincere hope that you leave here today feeling as energized as I am about what 2018 and beyond has in store for our city in San Marcos. Thank you all for attending this event, and may God continue to bless the city of San Marcos. Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Tomides. We're grateful for your leadership and continued efforts here in San Marcos. For almost 2 years now, Michael Cardona has been at the helm of the San Marcos Consolidated Independent School System as Superintendent of Schools. Before joining San Marcos CISD, Mr. Cardona served as Chief School Officer for the Houston Independent School District, overseeing 36 schools and 15 charter schools with over 42,000 students, and representing the superintendent as the district official in the community in that community. We can say he's earned his street creds. Recognized as Michael Cardona has helped implement rigorous student performance standards that resulted in 99% of schools under his leadership meeting the Texas accountability standards during the 2015-2016 school year. During his tenure at San Marcos CISD, Mr. Cardona has focused on fighting a misguided district perception, increasing resources for teachers, and most important, the quality and education of life for all of our students at San Marcos CISD. Please join me in welcoming Superintendent Michael Cardona to the stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Man, Tomites has me, I felt like jumping in the river there for a minute. It's like, woo! No, so the State of District, I just want to take a moment and have our board members here stand up, if y'all could stand up. Last Monday night, they had a historic vote, right? So we talk about workforce development in the state of the city, and they approved a $2 raise for all non-teachers, so custodians, bus drivers, clerical work. They also gave a raise to our teachers, and they fixed some compression issues that we all knew were available. So they have stepped up. I also want, we really believe in this venture together, the city, the chamber, Greater San Marcos Partnership. Jason, and I'll say this openly, was a great advocate. Samantha, for our bond that passed last year, and I don't think we could have done it without them, and we appreciate them. But how invested we are is if I could have everybody from San Marcos CISD stand up just so that you get a face. So we want to thank them. They're in timeout right now because they've done some stuff wrong, but that's okay. They'll get out of there. I'm just joking. So our athletic director is here. He had a great year. We have Mike Doyle, our career technology director, all of our principals in our central office, cabinet, who is here representing us, and we really believe in this partnership. Next slide. So last year, if you were here, you heard me talk about the district's core commitments, and I won't go over those. The first two have to do with student performance and academic rigor. The blue one is the achievement gaps. We know that we have those, but I think that doesn't tell a story. And I'm going to talk a little bit about accountability, and I'm glad that there is representatives from our state office here, because I want them to hear that, if the common public doesn't understand the complexities of the system that we have, and when we have a system that is making teachers and students ill, somebody needs to look at that system and see if it actually makes sense. Because I would venture to guess, with Texas State sitting here, they would tell you that very rarely when they have student applications do they look at STAR scores. Do we have metrics? Should we be held accountable? Absolutely. We have those metrics already. We have TSI if a student wants to go into the workforce. We have the ASVAB if a kid wants to go into the military. We have PSAT, we have SAT, we have AP, we have dual credit. We have metrics that we can be judged on. And so I would challenge any legislator, if they want to have a conversation with me about that, I'd be more than happy, because I am a product of private education, K-12. So I think I'm in a very unique situation that not many people have been through. So I went through that segregated system. And I'm grateful for that. My mother and father provided me an opportunity to do certain things, but never one time did I have somebody stand up in front of me and based on a meaningless test say to me that I wasn't worth something, right? I took Iowa Test of Basic Skills, for those of you who remember that. I took the SAT and I took the ACT, and I think for the most part I did pretty well. But there was never a stopgap system that doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to focus on is culture and community, because I think as superintendent, if we get those things right, the culture and the community partnership, everything else takes care of itself, in spite of the fact that we have a system that it takes a psychometrician to understand. Next slide, please. This is what drives my sense of urgency as superintendent of schools, and I think it lines up very well with Mayor Tomides and our esteemed colleague from Kyle, I think, and our chamber and the Greater San Marcos Partnership. So this was a research study conducted in partnership with College Board that really shows the top line that we've added about 12 million jobs over the past 10 years. The middle line are jobs that we've added if it requires a high school diploma plus certification and continuing education. And the bottom line is where the jobs, as we grow the economy, are being left behind. And the blue line at the bottom is just a high school graduate, right? So when I go to sleep at night, I wonder as a system, are we doing what we need to do for our kids that prepare them to go military, if that's what they want? That's what my brother did. If they want to go to college, which is what I did. Well, I didn't do it. My mother told me I was going to do it, and I listened. Or if they want to go workforce, which is what my mother and my dad did. And if you notice, and if you think about just current technologies, you have this great handheld device that has knowledge in front of it. But the reality is, like, if you go to a hotel nowadays, like here, you can sometimes check in, get your app, get your door key, and just go to the door and check in. Well, that's great, right? But what does that mean for me as a superintendent? That means that at some point, the receptionist isn't going to be needed at some point. So I have to, as a superintendent, think, am I preparing the kids when they walk the stage to be college confident, to be career ready or military ready? And we have state law around that, right? We have state law around that. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Next slide. Crisis, we had several crises, right? And no crisis is good. But what comes out of it is what happens when people make difficult choices. And we are in a crisis. I mean, education is the stopgap. It is what makes the city better and what makes this region better. If we don't prepare our kids to be ready to do what it is they want to do, this city will suffer. Social services will increase. Hospital rates will increase. Everything is affected by what happens in the public school system. There's no doubt about it. We have 5 million students in our system. And we'd be fooling ourselves not to think that we need to come together, put politics aside, and do what's right for this city, the region, the state, and the nation. Next slide. So in San Marcos, this is the idea of our graduate, right? For me, I look all the way past post-secondary success and backwards map all the way down to kindergarten readiness. And we have a board who made a great commitment to fund a full-day pre-K program. And we also have Head Start kids there, so we bring in 3-year-olds because they firmly believe, I firmly believe, our whole system believes, the sooner we can get involved with their education, the better off our community is going to be. And we want to do that in a safe and nurturing environment. And at this point, I want to give just a shout out to Chief Staff and all first responders, because when I got here, I had no idea the standard response protocol that we do with our first responders is the model in the nation. So you come into one of our schools to mess with one of our kids, you don't mess with just the city, you mess with the county, you mess with DPS, you mess with fire department. They all come. When we go through training, it's not one police officer giving us advice, it's 40. And I was like, whoa, that's a lot of police officers with toys attached to them. But if it weren't for them, it catches our kids' attention. When we had it at the high school right after Parkland, there was a lot of uneasiness. I mean, I was uneasy, right? Our board members were uneasy. But it's a calming feeling when you walk into the library and see 48 police officers willing to do what they need to do to protect our kids. And that happens in all of our schools. And that happens in Hayes CISD as well. It is a county initiative. It's not just for the city and for the school district. So thank you, Chief Staff. I want to. So I want to talk a little bit about the current state of accountability. And, I have to laugh at this quote because you got to laugh, right? The only people we seem to hold accountable right now are criminals and teachers. Think about that. Think about our current accountability system. We test, we make a judgment, right? And then we punish. That's our educational system the way it is right now. And think about that. Think about what that does, and think about the turbulence that creates in the system. It is what it is, and we do what we got to do, and our principals keep pushing forward to do what we got to do. But we really look at, as a district, doing all the other things. The test will take care of itself. And I do got to correct Jason. Since I've been in San Marcos, 100% of our schools have met the accountability system that has continued to change. It has literally been different tests every year since I've been here, actually for the last 5 years. Because if you're a statistician, 12 years of longitudinal data will get you the information that you need, and it just constantly keeps changing. And you have to wonder, are we doing what's best for kids, or are we playing political games? It's just the question I have as superintendent, because my job is to answer to the board, but ultimately to answer to my students. And I make no bones about answering to my students. Next slide, please. So I wanted to show you a little bit about the current accountability system or projected accountability system, because I think it's important for business people to understand the sheer complexity of what we're talking about. This is not Mr. Cardona, superintendent, who's bitter about an accountability system. This is third-party research, very well respected, Moak Casey. You can go look at him. Mr. Lynn Moak wrote the PEAMS data for the state of Texas. He is the guru of statistics. This is their research on what would happen in August when we come out with our projected district accountability systems. Now, we have a system where people say it is possible for every school to be rated as an A school. So this graph, scatter plot, is what would happen if we took Texas Education Agency's data, used their methodology, and rated the schools across the state. This is elementary. Now, if you notice a trend, on the bottom line going horizontal is percent of free and reduced lunch. Lower free and reduced lunch on the left in blue, high percentage of kids on free and reduced lunch, economically disadvantaged on the right. Right? Blue is A, B, C, D, F is in red. Now, for a system that projects itself to be feasibly possible for all schools to be rated as an A, the reality is it's not using their methodology. And there seems something wrong with that. There seems something wrong with the fact that if you're a school that has 60% or more of schools in poverty, there is a greater than likelihood chance that you won't be able to show people the great work you're doing because you're going to be tagged as an F. The schools that are above the line are all charter schools, self-selected. I say self-selected schools. Next slide. The same goes for middle schools. There's 1,200 middle schools in the state of Texas. And if you're a business person and you look at data, the data is what the data is, right? And you notice a pattern and a trend, you would say, maybe I got to change something. Why is it that only schools that have less than 20% students in poverty continue to be rated on the system that the state is projecting to be an A? I don't know that to be true. If you've gone through our tours here recently, you notice a very different picture of what goes on. And the reason why we have kids up there, this system affects kids. It affects kids. Next slide. This is our high school. Now, this is the curious thing. So this system, these are all the high schools in the state. This methodology, this consulting firm looked at if the state weighted graduation rates, career, college, and military readiness rates, and test scores equally, 34%, 33%, 33%. What would happen to the high schools? And you see, mysteriously, almost all the high schools that have high poverty, almost all the schools are rated as A schools. And state law currently says that career, college, and military readiness is a standard, and yet we have people talking about removing career, college, and military ready as a standard, or reducing the percent that it counts. One of the great things we do here in San Marcos that Mike Doyle and others before him have done is have a coherent sequence of career technology courses where kids are able to earn certifications. And now we're being told potentially that is going to be removed. You put a law in place to judge us on that, and now you're going to remove that as a metric. You understand where I get a little bit bitter? It doesn't make sense. And I go back again to we shouldn't have a system where we test, judge, and punish. I don't know that that's the education that we all experienced growing up. Next slide, please. It's too small to see, but these are recommendations. And there's a couple in here I'll just talk about. One is we do the coherent course sequence for CTE, because we believe in that. And the other is educating, which is the bottom one, our public. Because quite honestly, it's not me that legislators will listen to. They will not listen to the superintendent. They will listen to business people. They will listen to people who can make a difference. And that's what I'm asking as your superintendent. I'm not asking not to be held accountable to making sure kids are ready. What I'm asking for and what I need support in is putting a system that is rational and that somebody can understand, that most people can understand. Because I get a headache when I start looking at data and trying to figure out what it is that they're going to do. And if you know, right, SAT, norm reference test, right, or Iowa Test of Basic Skills, norm reference, there's a 50% top, 50% bottom. STAR test is a criterion reference test. Theoretically, it's a criterion reference test. When in reality, when you put an average in and you have a top 5% and a bottom 5%, you are rank ordering students across the state. That is no longer a criterion reference test. You are rank ordering kids, and somebody has to be the failure. Doesn't seem rational that that's what we want to judge our students on. So that's where I ask for your help. And that's where we're at as a state of the district. Next slide, please. The state did understand, the commissioner did understand that sometimes achievement is different than growth. You can have kids grow and not pass a standardized test. So this chart shows that of what would happen if you looked at growth. And you see that high poverty schools stand a better chance of showing that they're actually doing work to move kids in the right direction. All this is still nebulous because our kids will test in May. We may have a decision in late April, but it could change again in August. Again, it doesn't seem reasonable that we started with a 400-meter run. We're currently in a 2-mile run, and now they've thrown some steeplechase in it. I'm with you, Mayor, but I'm not in that good a shape right now. Next slide. So what are we doing in San Marcos? Because we have to be the stabilizing force. Our teachers, our principals. Like I said, the system is what it is. So our kids have to produce in that system. So what are we doing? We have great partnerships. AVID, if you don't know what AVID is, Advancement via Individual Determination, is a program that's going district-wide, focuses on career, on college readiness. really focuses on having kids take ownership. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. We are going one-to-one with our students, laptops. Our kids are far ahead of us when it comes to technology. So we're going to give them the tools, and then that's going to help our teachers change their practices, right? Because the kids move faster than we do. We have great partnerships with the community. I've talked about the Chamber, I've talked about Greater San Marcos Partnership, School Fuel, United Way, the Lions Club. The Lions Club commits not a lot of people know this, they commit $20,000 a year. They pay for all advanced placement tests. They don't want any barriers for kids to be able to take a test to get college credit. They give us $20,000 for the last 2 years to fund that, which is just amazing that you have a group of people that are committed to that. Texas State, everybody knows about the College of Education and all the great partnerships from pre-K all the way to 12, but what a lot of people don't know about is this year we've hired human resources interns. We pay them, I think that helps them not get debt, and we pay them and they give us a different way of looking at it. We have public relations interns that help us. But man, they're fast on social media. They're doing stuff that we can't keep up with. Which is good. We are one of the few, to my knowledge, one of the few school systems that has a partnership with social work. Social emotional learning is a key component, and their social work department provides us anywhere from 10 to 15 interns each semester. They go into our schools, and we pay them a $2,500 stipend. Again, that was the board that committed that funding to understand that there's more to life in a school than just academics. And there's so many others. On the right-hand side is just the individualized professional development for our teachers. Everything here is aligned to those 5 core commitments. There's nothing we do that's happenstance or because the superintendent feels like it. Everything is aligned to make the system better and to move our entire system forward. Next slide. There's a lot there of where we're going. I feel like I've been rambling a bit. I do want to focus a little bit on the social emotional counselors. The board committed is a bad word. Let me rephrase that. The board authorized us to have 4 social emotional counselors. So these counselors, you have counselors at the high school, but typically they're inundated with scheduling and testing. And so these counselors just support students and their families. We all know, we all live here, we all know that trauma creates physical actions for students, and if you're coming to school with trauma, it's hard to get the academic piece in place. And so they have committed us to have a person that is the linchpin for those families and for the kids that's not bothered by all the other stuff. And again, I think that shows you have a board that is forward-thinking and is allowing me as superintendent to do what they know is best for kids. But I think I'll leave you with this. Andrew, where's Andrew? Oh, there's Andrew. If you don't know Andrew, Andrew was a great hire last year. Andrew has a better way of explaining things. He's a millennial. You're a millennial, right? You're whatever I tell you you are. You're a millennial. I'll leave it to Andrew to tell the story. I know he is a very visual person. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the support that has been given to our kids and to our teachers. Appreciate the board, again, and I'll keep saying this, for taking a chance on a middle school chief who is a former principal, right? And you never know where kids are going to be. I'm trying to finish up my dissertation, and the answer I always give that professors will like, when my chair tells me I'm ready is when I'm ready, right? And that's correct. I'm writing their paper for them, not for me. So I appreciate their support. They make me a better professional. They make me a better person. They've made me change my habits stress habits, but I'll leave it to Andrew to show you what we're really about in San Marcos CISD. Well, I think what makes San Marcos very special, it's a community with a small town feel and big town access.
Well, I have a lot of friends who their parents think that public schools, that's where the bad kids are. You don't want them exposed to that environment. And I completely disagree with that. Our community is strong. Embrace that.
Here in San Marcos CISD, we're committed to providing a safe and nurturing environment for both our students and our staff members.
The teachers are very welcoming, the administration's very welcoming. Everybody wants to see you succeed, they want to support you.
Education begins with culture first, and we want all our kids to move successfully through our school systems. We're trying to move the entire population to be college confident, career ready, and military ready.
It's a great feeling to know that you're a part of something bigger than yourself.
We're really excited to offer our community a fully funded pre-K program that ensures that our students get an early start to their educational journey. Working on getting those kids to be kindergarten ready through our dual language program. The earlier you start with students, the quicker you can get them on grade level. Pure Edge gives our teachers and students socio-emotional supports to lead a healthy lifestyle.
I feel very lucky to work in a district where teacher self-care is a major priority.
It became evident pretty quickly that we needed to do something to address socio-emotional learning. Let's address the teachers, and if they're healthy and if they have good habits, that's going to funnel down to students.
Pure Edge addresses bullying. It addresses being a good student. It just addresses everything. AVID is advancement via individual determination and encourages self-ownership.
My name is Esme, and I'm a senior here at San Marcos High School.
When you see Esme, you see the AVID program in action.
It's a college readiness class.
AVID students have to be critical thinkers, advocate for themselves, and defend their learning to their peers and to adults. Esme's now the standard for her family, somebody who's gonna go to college and who will be successful after.
I didn't know any English coming here. I came to high school, I signed up for all 4 years in AVID. I became a leader. I learned how to talk to people and be an example for them. Because of my family background, nobody has gone to college, so I'm going to be the first one going in.
One of the neatest things about San Marcos High School is that they have an amazing career and technology program.
Our CTE program gives the students technical knowledge and skills necessary to be workforce ready. We offer multiple pathways for our students, anywhere from robotics to veterinary medicine, ag sciences, cosmetology, criminal justice, EMT certifications.
My name is TP Miller. I'm in the Career and Technology Department. I teach principles of business and accounting. We have a QuickBooks certification program where the students are able to get QuickBooks certified. For the students that want to pursue the accounting or become a certified public accountant. It's real world, and the students are able to apply it and understand.
In San Marcos, our teachers are moving to becoming facilitators of learning, encouraging students to take ownership of their journey and just serve as a guide.
I teach the criminal justice classes. I went to law school and I did practice for almost 5 years, and I decided that I wanted to work in a field that I felt like I could really make a difference in someone's life.
The opportunities that we afford in San Marcos CISD allow your kid's individuality to come out, and we'll build a program around your kid.
My name is Sam, and I'm a senior at San Marcos High School.
He is all-state choir, all-district basketball. He's top 10%. He's in our mariachi program.
San Marcos High School really fed my fascination with everything. I don't think I'm gonna be a part of, a salsa band, a mariachi, choir, basketball. I won't be a part of that forever, but what it will help me with is time management. I'll be attending the University of Texas, and I'll be studying architecture.
I did come up from San Marcos CISD, went to San Marcos High School and graduated in 2007. I did receive a scholarship to play at Texas State University and play football as a defensive back. The students take a lot of pride in the facilities.
Our athletic facilities are state-of-the-art and rivals those found in many colleges and universities. The athletic complex, it's not just about athletics. It is truly for the entire campus.
With our football teams and our basketball team constantly making playoffs, and all of our sports are having those standards. And that's all about school pride. I'm going to do this for myself and my school.
A kid who has a 360-degree education is just going to be a better citizen. We have Texas State University sitting right here, and they're on the cutting edge of research.
I'm a high school sophomore here in San Marcos.
You know, here's a student who's a 10th grader that's getting biology credit working with the microbiology professor, Dr. Kane, over at Texas State.
I am so grateful for everything I've been able to do at this high school. I'm currently lead author on a paper developing my own research for a glow-in-the-dark bacteria. Millions of crops are dying around the world. The bacteria I made is just a tool that you can use to understand immune systems.
Who gets to do that? We're not going to put kids in schedules that confine them to a box. We're going to allow them to be outside the box.
It's just amazing how we all connect to each other.
This is like a big family that lives in this little town.
In San Marcos, you don't only get the district. You get the city, the chamber, the Greater San Marcos Partnership, and Texas State University. We work as one, we strike as one.
I am.
Yo soy.
I am.
I am San Marcos CISD.
I am San Marcos CISD.
I am San Marcos CISD.
We are.
Thank you, Superintendent Cardona. I speak for all of us when I say we look forward to watching the continued growth of our school district. And you can just see after hearing this great presentation from our mayor and our superintendent, San Marcos is a great place to live, work, and play. And I would add on to what Superintendent Cardona talked about. If you have not had a chance to get into the school system, if you've not had a chance to tour the schools, please take time. Go into these schools. You'll see and learn a lot of new things and a lot of things that are going on. So hats off to them. They always, their doors are always open for our citizens and our business leaders and community leaders to get in and see what's going on. At this time, let's give another round of applause to our mayor and superintendent for a great speech and great presentation today. On behalf of the San Marcos Area Chamber of Commerce, our board, and all attendants today, I would like to thank our mayor and superintendent for their remarks this afternoon. As you can tell, the city of San Marcos' future is bright. I would like to once again thank our sponsors, our gold sponsors, the city of San Marcos, LaCima, Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, LMV Inc., and our silver sponsors, HEB San Marcos, Texas State University, the Greater San Marcos Partnership, and our bronze sponsors, A+ Federal Credit Union, Bowman Consultant, Half Associates, and San Marcos Academy. Thank you all for being here, and good luck and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.